The best documentaries are those that stick in your head for quite a while afterwards. Let's talk about Louis Theroux inside the Manosphere. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. I don't talk about documentaries often. It's not that I don't watch them, I do. It's just that there are not that many that I feel really need to be talked about or need to be shared. This is one I find absolutely fascinating and horrifying, and it was quite surprising really. I didn't actually know it existed. It just suddenly popped up for me on Netflix, and at the same time I also sort of heard about it on social media because it was, well, as it debuted, climbing up the Netflix charts. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Louis Theroux is now working with Netflix. Now, if you're not familiar with him, he is a British documentary maker, and he famously worked with the BBC for decades. So some of his best work has all been with the BBC. I mean, I've seen various things of his that were really fascinating over the years. There was one where he was talking to families that have got transgender kids and how they live and how, you know, the whole thing works for them, etc, etc. You've got things where he visits brothels, you know, and delves into that industry. Probably one of the weirdest things for me is, and for most people, what he most famously did is he did a documentary with Jimmy Savile. Absolute horror of a person. So if you're really interested, you should watch these things, but I really like his style. Louis Theroux has got this innocence about him, where he's like, you know, even if he's asking you difficult questions, you know, because, well, he's not giving you just the what do you call them, curveballs, etc., the easy ones, whatever you want to call them. You know, he asks really uncomfortable questions because that is what he's there for, you know, to delve deep and find out who you are. But when he does it, he seems so innocent. It's like even if he asks these difficult questions, I feel like you can't really be angry at him if you're the subject, you know, that is about, because he's just got this, I don't know, he's somehow disarming. It's weird. He's just got the perfect way to interview people. When I think about, I mean, I'm not that I interview people, but when I am in a situation like that, where I might have to talk to people about difficult things, I do also think about people like Louis Theroux, and I'm like, you know, it really helps to kind of try and be like him in such situations, I feel. He's just got a really incredible way of doing it. So if you're not familiar with him at all, I would highly recommend that you see if maybe on a streaming service or so you can find something of his that he's done. Obviously, if you've got Netflix, you can watch the very one I'm talking about right now, but he's done so many in the past. It's really interesting. Many different topics, especially if you've got one that you're interested in, I would say definitely check it out. So what is this one about? So yes, so suddenly he's working with Netflix. I mean, I don't mind. I always say, if Netflix is prepared to have better programming, I'm all for it, right? So yes, very surprising to me. Like I said, I am a fan of Louis Theroux. So inside the Manosphere, what is that? Especially if you're not familiar with the term Manosphere, for the past, let's say, 10 to 15 years or so, there's been this online development. I'm not an expert, by the way, so this is just sort of my interpretation of it. But this online community building of men, that's why it's called the Manosphere, where, in my opinion, this is not the film's opinion, but I would believe that pretty much everyone involved with the film would have more or less a similar view of things. But still, where the men and young boys are being taught behavior and societal norms, etc., that I don't think we really want to build a society on, right? So it's all very masculine, it's all sort of alpha males, and, you know, you're the man, you have to be successful, you need to make money, you need to tell women what to do, women are there to serve you, and all these kind of things, right? Toxic masculinity as a sort of social platform, you could call it, or social group, community, whatever you have, right? And so he delves deep into it. So we watch him, he visits a few people who are in this, mainly influencers, so, you know, on TikTok, Instagram, what have you, on social media, where they peddle these beliefs to people, like I say, especially young boys, and this is why it's so dangerous. This is why I find this documentary so interesting, also horrifying, but also important, because many people aren't really aware of this. I'm a person who's on the internet a lot, so I'm aware of a lot of cultures that exist on the internet or developing there. So I was familiar with the Manosphere. Many people, even in just regular newspapers, etc., they will have heard of people like Andrew Tate, but their understanding is just very superficial, and they never, dove deeper into it. Fine, you don't have to, so you could even argue it's very, very, damaging for you to find out more about it. But that is why, like I say, I think these kind of things are important, because many people aren't aware of what's going on, especially online, because it's so quick and easy to miss. People are on their phones all the time. You don't see what they're doing on their phones. And this is one of the reasons I personally I'm for a social media ban for people under a certain age, right? I don't have a set thing, but I'd say anyone under a teenager should not be on the internet. You get influenced so easily, they want to sell you stuff so easily, the algorithms are so good at just reinforcing things, particular things, repeating them, etc., to drill into your mind whatever it is they want to be there, right? They want them to be there. And yeah, so a lot of these things, but here especially, because this whole world just baffles me. The whole thought of having this opinion where, well, I mean, it's fine, being proud of what you are and what you can do and standing up for yourself. All these things are fine. But it should not be, and this is my main gripe with the whole thing, this whole thing where there's just women should be subservient to men and that whole stuff, and just more or less quite often these people, even without all of the huge misogyny going on, usually are just pricks, right? Even, with you see it here in this as well. Louis is there, he's asking his questions, and it always is so delightful to me. You can see these people are really uneasy because of it. They try to sort of cover it up by, just them being taunting to him and sort of, just trying to sort of playfully distract or something like that. But you can see that he gets to them because the questions are simple questions and they get right to the heart of what it is they do and why that may be a bad thing. And they obviously can't really give you good answers for why they do it, because as soon as they start thinking about various behaviours and viewpoints that they have, just from a standard moral viewpoint, they can't really back them up, and that's what I find fascinating to see. I've seen criticisms online, do not be overly praising of this. I myself came away from it not really, how should I say, not really having any criticisms of my own, but I read up online about it because I was interested in people's opinions, and I do find myself agreeing a bit with some of them. Because one mainly was that some people felt that Louis Theroux did not involve women in the discussion, as in, interviewing women about these viewpoints, especially women, I suppose, in this place. That they do appear a bit in this, but they're definitely not a big focal point, which I think should also be an interesting aspect. Because, yeah, we get a slight glimpse into them, but not really. It would be interesting, I suppose, also for a lot of men who are in this world and are so blinded by the ideology they maybe not realise, that most women are not like that, do not want to be like that, don't want to be dictated to. Of course, there will be some that want that, but it doesn't mean that all want that. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the hypocrisies, especially about these kind of viewpoints, are also shown in the documentary. And like I say, I think it's really fun to just watch these guys squirm a bit because they're like, yeah, wait a second, he caught me there. It's funny, but at the same time, like I say, it's really horrifying to think that there are men out there who are living their daily lives like this, dictating to people and getting a lot of followers, and then usually, what is also shown here, usually use their platform to sell people stuff, online courses, and I'll lead you to financial success, I'll give you dating tips, all these kind of things. It's a shame because they're preying mostly on people who have just got low self-esteem and, are desperate for because they feel that everything they've tried doesn't work, and it's like, oh well, we've got this alpha male here, he's successful, you know, usually muscular, etc. So he's got everything going for him, he's got women, so obviously he knows how to do stuff, and then they'll just blindly follow that, throw money at it because it well, promises them shortcuts. That won't come, right? Yes. Really fascinating thing. So if again, especially if you're not aware of this culture that exists online, especially among men, you know, young men, you should definitely watch this. But even if you are aware of it, watch it, because it's just, you know, you're sitting there. I knew a lot of this stuff, but you know, just watching it play out, and it's like, wow, you know, and you've got a normal person interacting with them and asking questions. It's just, it holds up such a mirror, and that's what I think Louis Theroux does so wonderfully. So yes, if you've never heard of him, definitely check it out. If you've got Netflix, you should check this documentary out. I would highly recommend it. I hope that this is just the beginning, and Louis Theroux does more of his documentaries with Netflix. I would definitely be there to watch them. Like I say, I just love his style. He's just such a fun guy to observe. You know, he's the master of just moments of silence where he'll ask something, or the interviewee is saying something, and then he'll just leave that hanging in the air, and it turns into an uncomfortable silence. And I just love those moments, because it really gives you time to think about this stuff, and you're like, oh my God. Anyway, that will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about, well, inside the Manosphere, or the Manosphere itself, you know, not just the documentary, or Louis Theroux, etc. Yeah, any and all thoughts you have, share them down below. I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care.